marching band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Is the Thursday night before an Auburn football game, and so that means we've got to preview and predict everything that's going to happen all the way down to the score. Auburn versus Kentucky is on deck, so let's get into it and preview and predict that game. Well, War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we discuss, share, experience the Auburn experience together. All about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to be doing this evening on our preview and prediction show for Auburn versus Kentucky, the 9th game of the season, week 10 of the season, because now we've got to think about that with multiple bye weeks. But we're here tonight to do this show that we've been doing most Thursday nights when we've had a game looking forward to on the weekend. This one may be a little bit abbreviated just for some, house stuff tonight that I've got to take care of, but certainly we want to make sure that we are giving you guys a little bit of space. And this is just for live purposes, housekeeping. We're doing this in the middle of an Auburn basketball game right now, preseason game. And I know so many of our regulars may be tuned in over there to the War Eagle Plus, but we appreciate you all stopping by for this particular show and hanging out with us a little bit tonight about Auburn versus Kentucky in football. We're getting off to on a great start here. Got to acknowledge this right at the start. Thank you, Hunter, for the super chat. Obby is the bigger and better cat. Well said. I have no notes. That's all it needs to be said other than thank you for the super chat. All right, as you guys are coming into the stream, please let us know that you're here. Please hold your score predictions. Patrick, you got ahead of us, buddy. Hold on. Trust me, we got a whole live stream to go. Hold the score predictions. We're going to get there. If you can't stay the whole time, that's fine, I guess. But usually when one person starts sharing it early, the rest of you start sharing, and then we just kind of lose the whole shtick of the show here. All right, come on in. Let us know you're here. Say hello. Hang out with each other for a little bit. We're going to get interactive in the show. We're going to spend a lot less time than we normally do, even so than we normally do on this particular element. I'm just putting this up here very briefly for you all to talk about or look at, freeze frame if you want to look at some of those things. But as you're coming in, please do make sure that you're smashing the like button, saying hello to whoever is there in the chat with you, hanging out. And it looks like we got a lot of fine folks hanging out with us this evening. We appreciate each and every one of you turning in. You're good, Patrick. You're not the first one to make that mistake. All good here. Okay. So Auburn versus Kentucky, like I said, I always bring this up on the screen just so that you guys can have something to reference. This is what the athletic department puts out every single week for the matchup. And so this isn't the wholeness of the document. You can actually find this on Auburn Athletics website if you'd like it. It's like a living document that they update every single week because some of it is the same, just updated stats and stuff like that. But if you want to read through that, if you can, I think it's not the worst resolution in the world. Freeze frame, you can see the summary of the season, where everything's going to be, TV times, all that kind of stuff available to you. Let's keep moving right along for the purpose. This is just informational stuff to get us started tonight and then get to preview and predictions. This is right here in front of us, the depth chart. They actually have updated that since our last one that we did. Typically, you don't see a lot of changes happen on that, even when there have been changes to the depth chart. But as you can see, Damari is no longer listed even as an option at running back. Jeremiah and Omar are still officially 1 and 2. Darrell Robinson, though, appears to be on the mend. So we might be able to add him to that particular list there. Cale Ellis is also listed as the starting center. I was trying to see if they moved Xavier Miller into a starting slot at all. It looks still like everybody else is going to be the same for the most part. Actually, I think Mason has now. No. We're still good. Everything is the same there. Looking to see if anybody else has slid into any spots that may be of note. No. Okay. So look at that if you'd like to dive into detail on the depth chart, all that kind of stuff if you want to. Quarterbacks are still listed the same as of this moment. Down at the bottom is the main thing that you want to reference, and we'll probably reference for a lot of our questions this evening. It's a really quick blurb stat sheet of comparisons for the teams. You've obviously got the points per game. You've got the points allowed per game, rushing offense, passing offense, and defense. You've got the leaders in passing and receiving and defense. So names to know for, is that how you say that? Bowley? Passing. It's a little bit low resolution on my screen over here for some reason. Receiving for them, Law, Gilmore, Rodriguez. Defense, Afari, Bryant, and Lovett are some names to know for Kentucky. Just wanted to throw those out to you all as options of people to look at. It's listed there as well. Same thing here. Freeze frame if you need to. These are things that we may go to and look at. Stats from the course of the season thus far, how everything's shaking out. Take a strong look at that third down conversion. That is something we usually talk about in our streams here. Same thing here. You can look at this next sheet as well. Freeze frame if you need to. I told you we're moving fast tonight. And even though we're not going to spend any time on much on this, I just want to look at that beautiful list right there. And Xavier Atkins just dominating quite the year he's having across statistically he's got interceptions, he's got sacks, he's got quarterback hurries, he's got pass breakups, he's got fumble recoveries, he's got forced fumbles, he's got unassisted tackles, assisted tackles, total tackles for loss. Xavier Atkins is having quite the year, man. Quite the year. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to bring that up for you guys there. Oh, one more thing. I forget this for some reason. Let me shift gears just a little bit with you guys and remove that. Bring this up onto screen if we can, and we'll make it just a little bit bigger for everybody. ESPN, just to give you a predictor for everything. Auburn is considered to win by 77.1% chance. Pretty significant. It's probably the most significant that Auburn has seen. So I think there's a lot of positivity around this game. Once again, you can see the leaders listed there. Their rushing leader, our rushing leader, passing leader, all that kind of stuff. Defensively. They're at the bottom of the SEC. Auburn is 5th from the bottom, so not as bad as you could be, but still at the bottom. That gives you all the information right there. Look right there at the last several games for each of these teams. Kentucky is right now on a 4-game losing streak, and they've lost to South Carolina, at Georgia, lost Texas, lost to Tennessee, scored a lot against Tennessee. Texas, they nearly beat. A couple other teams, I think, this season that they nearly beat that they shouldn't have. Don't sleep on Kentucky, even though they are at the bottom of the SEC. All right, let's bring us back up on screen here. Here's what we're going to do for the duration of our time. Once again, if you are sharing your score prediction, please hold it. Please hold it. Steven made the cardinal rule mistake. Now, we're going to ask for those at the end. If you can't stay, that's fine. So this is a reminder, everybody, again. We're going to go through situations, offense, defense, special teams, as much as we can within my time constraints tonight, and get some predictions out of you guys, which will hopefully allow you to be a more well-informed score prediction person. Because it's one thing to just throw out, hey, look, this is what the score I think it is just the numbers that popped in my head. But have you thought through what's the trends for Auburn's offense, defense? What are they allowing? What is this team's strength? What is the team that they're playing strength? All of those things you want to think about when you're making predictions, and we're going to try to help you do that for tonight. Neil thinks Auburn should win this one by 2 scores. Should and will they is 2 different things, Neil. I think we both seen that. Stan references our simulation for NCAA 26. You might want to watch it. It is quite the ending. It's always keep in mind it's not the full game. It is just the highlights of it because it gets real boring if you watch the full thing. But there you go. There's an opportunity for you. Real quick, a couple more questions here before we get into predictions. Any update on who may start at quarterback? No. There's still no, and I don't think that he would, reveal that even right now. That's just another game of chess when you've got two quarterbacks that they're going to have to prepare. Everybody is sharing their score predictions. Betty, hold on. It's like everybody on Facebook decided, I'm going to share the score predictions. Hold the score predictions. This is the most interactive like Facebook has been in quite some time, and they're just wanting to share their score predictions. We'll ask for them at the end. All right, here we go. We're going to go through offense, defense, special teams. Most of you who are pros know the drill. Let's get you a warm-up question right here. Let me see. Let me get a good question. Yes or no. This is just to get you used to typing in the chat because it's going to be a yes or no. Auburn. No, it's not going to be a good one. Sorry. I was trying to correlate to basketball somehow. I don't know what to ask. Yes or no. Do you like the white Kentucky helmets? Yes or no. So the white base, the blue UK. Normally they have the blue and then the white UK. Yes or no. Do you like those ones? I try to just give a fun one to start. So just type yes or no right now. This is really just a good gauge for who's here right now to let us know who I need to be watching for in the voting patterns, things like that. So if you'll type that in there right now, yes or no. Do you like the white helmet for Kentucky with the blue UK? Just straight white with the blue UK. No chrome, none of that. Yes, no, yes. A couple people have answered already. Anybody else got some takers there? You've seen a lot of y'all in the chat, so don't be shy. Yes, it looks old school. I don't care about Kentucky helmets. You could just answer the question, Neil. Neil's always that guy. Yes. I'm gonna insert no for Neil there because I think that's what he basically meant. Clean look. I agree, actually. To be honest with you, growing up not having a great rotation between the teams in the SEC, I actually really liked seeing Kentucky and Auburn because it's just not a color scheme that you see together a whole lot. Orange and blue and white, or their version of blue. So yeah, that's my take on it. I actually like a lot. All right. That's the fun question. We got a good gauge of who's here. Let's do this. Let us get to the questions here. I thought I had them pulled up. Bring it over here to me. Thank you very much. And here we go. First up for us is going to be Auburn offensive predictions. Let's start there. Why is it not coming up? Oh my gosh. Hello. Did we get rid? There it is. Auburn's offensive predictions. The first thing that I want to hear from you guys tonight, how many passing yards and passing touchdowns will Auburn's offense have in this game? How many passing yards and passing touchdowns will Auburn's offense have in this game? I can already feel some of you typing it. Depends on who's at quarterback. I hear you. It doesn't need to be said. We hear you. Just answer the question. I can literally now hear people hitting backspace or doubling down on typing that. Whoever it is out there for whatever amount of time, how many passing yards and passing touchdowns will Auburn's offense have versus Kentucky? I'll give you some information about it to reference. Here you go. Auburn offensively currently on passing is 170 per game. Kentucky is allowing 253. So a little bit of a discrepancy there. It looks like they can be susceptible passing wise. So we'll see if that matches up. Let's see what we got here. 202 touchdowns, 202-1, 234. Wow. 182, 125, 1, 110, 1, 232. Dalton, I beat you to it there, buddy. We already said that it depends on that one. It does appear that the Kentucky defense is not good, but it's Mark Stoops, so you're kind of confused as to why that is, right? So I'm going to say I want to go with that. I think that Auburn can, take advantage of what seems to be a susceptible Kentucky secondary passing wise, statistically at least. But I'm also a firm believer in when someone shows you who they are, at least in terms of their identity, you need to believe them until they give you reason not to. And for that reason, I'm just going to say like 140 passing and 1 touchdown, 140 passing and 1 passing touchdown. My gut tells me there's going to be a lot more to this passing game in this game, but I can't predict that right now in good conscience. Neil seems a little bit more confident about it. Coach Freeze goes scorched earth on Kentucky. I should have left this up here for you guys to reference. Whoops, let's remove that. Bring that back up here. That'll be a good reference point, and it may be a little small down there in the corner, but at least you can see some of the things that I'm referencing there. Okay, your next one. Auburn's offense. How many rushing yards and rushing touchdowns will Auburn's offense have versus Kentucky? Predict that now for me if you can. Excuse me. Rushing yards per game for Auburn is, oh my gosh, 170 as well. Our rushing per game and passing per game are separated by 0.6. That's wild, man. That's wild. Rushing defense for Kentucky is much better, only allowing 131. So that's going to be not that much of a discrepancy there. I think Auburn's shown that it has the ability to run the ball very, very well, and you would suspect that maybe they take advantage of that. Here's what I would love to see while you guys are off in your predictions. A 2-touchdown Omar Mabson game and a Darrell Robinson touchdown if he's healthy enough to go, alongside Jeremiah getting his. He's been doing well, getting a lot of carries lately and making do with those and getting into the 100-plus yard category there. So I think a lot of people are very optimistic about this one. 267 and 3, 220 and 3, 110 and 1, 210 and 2, 240 and 3, 285 and 3, 230 and 3. So it looks like the lowest is WT. That's interesting, WT. 180 and 2. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. I'm battling my head and my heart here. 205, 2 rushing touchdowns. 205, 3 rushing touchdowns. No, Kyle. Hold on. 205 and 2 rushing touchdowns. 205 and 2 rushing touchdowns. I'm going to go with that one. I'm really, really fighting my head and my heart here tonight. All right, keep moving right along here in our offensive stats. How many sacks will Auburn allow to its quarterbacks in this game? But keep in mind, we're asking how many sacks will be given up by Auburn's offense, whether that's the offensive line, poor blocking by tackles and tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, or it's holding onto the ball too long. Yeah, no, Mike, I can't make up my mind tonight. Tight ends, well, I said blocking, that's factoring. How many sacks? We've seen a vast improvement over this year, over these last few games. And that wasn't difficult to improve on. But now we've seen a little bit more consistency, which is odd, given the fact that you're now lost your starting center. Now, I think if we had seen Mr. Kale in there, as much as I've been pumping him up, how well he's been doing, it's the truth. I just wonder against some of the competition that we saw earlier in the year, if he had played a little bit more, we might have seen even more sacks. Neil going scorched earth with the 15. My gosh, surely not. Surely not. 2, 1, 6 from WT. 1, 3, 0. Hear me out. And okay, there we go. I thought you were going scorched earth on us there, sir. 1. He clarified. Okay, I'm going to go 3. Actually, I'm going to go 4. And this is my principle, as it always is. I try to think about the game within the game. The goal here is to take down a Kentucky team at home with enough time to get your starters out of there and play everybody else, which means more mistakes, younger players, less experienced people, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to say like it's 2 with the starters, 2 without the starters. So I'm going to say 4. And I think we still see hopefully a solid game in terms of protection of the quarterback and all of that. And keep in mind, guys, I hear you on if this player plays, I'm changing my thing. We don't need to say that every single time, Micah. Just answer the question. I knew this is we do this every year. Whenever there's a battle at a certain position, we get the if this person plays. We are talking about the whole team right here. So that's why we're not putting the caveat there of all that. How many turnovers will Auburn's offense have in this game? Whether that's interceptions, whether that is fumbles on offense, special teams, whatever it is. There haven't been a ton this year. His second interception of the year happened last year for Jackson. Obviously, Ashton's had very few opportunities to throw interceptions. Deuce as well, had very few. But the goal should be to get people in there, right? So how many turnovers will Auburn's offense have in this game? I need your predictions now on that one. Fumbles were a problem in the second game of the year against a lesser opponent. Could they be even more in this game? Doesn't seem like everybody here is too worried about them currently. A little bit of two there. WT is coming out of left field with some of his tonight. 0. I don't know if I pulled that one up for Hunter. I'm sitting probably in the space that I was with the sacks. I'm expecting a fumble somewhere, most likely with the backups in. I'm going to just predict that there's an interception in this game. So I'm going to say 2, whether it is Deuce, Ashton, Jackson. I'm going to say 1 interception and 1 lost fumble in this game. Yeah, I know, Micah, there is a question about the whole preserving the redshirt thing, but as he said this week, that's not his concern at this point. His concern is winning the football game, and he'll do whatever he has to do to win the football game, much less worry about. And now, I guess the player could say, I'm not going to play, or I want to do that, and so you're going to have to figure out a way to win without me. I don't think Ashton's going to do that. He doesn't seem like that type of guy to me. He's ready to roll. All right, next one. Who's going to... we've now reached a point where this one becomes easier. So I'm going to nix it tonight because I know exactly what y'all are going to say. It's going to be Jeremiah Cobb, who's the top rusher. So we're going to move on. Who is the top receiver in this particular game? Who's going to be Auburn's top receiver? And here's why this is even a bigger question this week. Cam Coleman, banged up last game, has been improving throughout the week in terms of his health for his ankle. Wasn't a high ankle sprain, but you can expect that he would not be. They can say he's 100%, but when you turn your ankle, you're not even just like comfort level 100%. So I need to know from you, who's going to be Auburn's top receiver in this game, whatever that means to you. Yardage, touchdowns, receptions, whatever that means. Singleton is obviously probably going to be the primary guy, with Cam a little dinged up. Malcolm was a little bit dinged up today. On Tuesday in practice, it sounds like, from coach, and he's progressing fine. Perry Thompson probably has a great opportunity here. And maybe some other people who haven't seen a lot of time. So you got Horatio that's out for the rest of the year, pretty much, it looks like at this point. Maybe he comes back later. You've got Malcolm and Cam that are at least somewhat nicked up. So you got Eric, you got Perry, who are full steam. So you're probably best served to pick one of those. If not, you're not going to pick a tight end, which there's not been too often a reason to do that this year. We got lots of Perry Thompson, a little Singleton. We got a Simmons. We got a Perry, Simmons. Anybody else? I think that's basically everybody, unless I missed a couple in there. Yeah, it could be any one of them. I'm going to say it's going to be Perry Thompson. This seems very much primed for him. You know that they'll be spending some attention on Cam when he's in, but also probably now trying to lock down Eric Singleton. So I think that opens up a big opportunity for Mr. Perry Thompson to have quite the game. And he's been coming along very nicely in this season. Last one for you guys on offense. What will be Auburn's third down percentage in this game? What will be Auburn's third down percentage? I have pulled it up on the screen for you guys. Down there at the bottom, you'll see third down conversion. For Auburn, 38 of 107. Golly, do the math, Kyle. It's 30-something% because it's probably closer to 40, but No, it wouldn't be closer to 40, would it? 38 over 107. Somebody do that math so I don't have to hurt myself live on camera. And that would be painful to watch. It has probably improved a little bit, but you were hurt by that very, very awful third down performance game versus, I mean, you're trying to block it out of this point. Was it? Excuse me. Versus Texas A&M. What do you guys say? What do you all say? 45, 42, 40. Lots of 40s, 30, 40, 39. Once again, I am living in the world where I think the way this game should go, and I think should plan to go. Micah with a very specific one. I would love to say in the 40s, but I think I'm more like weird like Neil was being and say 38. I'll say 38% in this game, which it drops down throughout the course of the game where hopefully you're getting all of those backups in and you're not as efficient on third down as the game goes along because you've gotten out so far. That's the goal, at least. All right, defense. How many passing yards and passing touchdowns will Kentucky have in this game? How many passing yards and passing touchdowns will Kentucky have in this game? If you look down in that corner, this right here, there you'll see passing yards and stuff. I'll read it for you. Passing yards per game for Kentucky is 207. Auburn is allowing 234. So we can probably guess that there's going to be a close, if not into the 200s. In this game wouldn't be a bad prediction based off of both of those numbers for Kentucky. But how many passing yards and passing touchdowns will Kentucky have in this game? And something to think about, even if the defensive backs are struggling a little bit, maybe they're not even having the time to do that with the pass rush, which has been pretty good as well this year too, against some very talented quarterbacks. Keep that in mind. Predictions rolling in here. Okay, pretty low for most everybody. I haven't seen a single person above 200. You're probably right, Neil. Probably right. 210 and 3. I'm kind of leaning towards a Texas-style Kentucky to come out. I think you're hoping for that. I think it's fair to think they'll get close to 200. I'll say 195. Oh, yeah. Thinking too hard. 195 and 2 touchdowns. 195 and 2 touchdowns for Kentucky. Because he's always right. How many, your next one, how many rushing yards and rushing touchdowns in this game? How many rushing yards and rushing touchdowns in this game? Rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Micah, by the way, you are a little bit delayed in the chat. You may need to refresh. I've just noticed a lot of your responses are coming in real delayed, and just maybe that's when you have the time to respond. But I usually like to give people a heads up that there are things maybe way behind. Yeah, I'm trying to wake up, Micah. It's been a busy day. Rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. What do we got? What are our predictions? The first few that are rolling in. Oh, I guess I should have read that off for you. I think you can read for yourself. But rushing per game for Kentucky, 153. Auburn allowing 84.1. Like Neil said earlier, it's going to be tough for Kentucky, who hasn't seen a defense, maybe hasn't seen a defense like this all season. There you go. Couple rolling in. Pretty low. All of them low so far. Micah with a little bit of a wishful thinking there. I will tell you this. If they get 175, I think we're in for quite the game. I'm not saying that 175 rushing is like an outstanding day, but against that Auburn defense, if you're doing that, you're finding yourself in a position to be successful. So if Micah's prediction holds true, we'll see if he's right with the score, with what the score might be. Who is going to be Auburn's top tackler? This is your next prediction. Who is going to be Auburn's top tackler versus Kentucky? Top tackler. What do we got? Xavier Atkins, this is probably like the top rusher situation, but does anybody else feel it's going to be someone else? Surely at some point, an Auburn opponent has to do something to figure out how to stop Xavier Atkins. But right now it ain't happening. So, I mean, we can all just say it together at this point. You know. Unbeaten Lake, I think you're in the wrong stream. I appreciate your fervor for him, but it's the football show. Atkins, don't know who Atkinson is, but I know what you mean. Atkins, anybody else? Yeah, I probably should have skipped this one, but everybody seems to be locking in on it. Locking in. Atkins it is. All right, last one for defense that we're going to do tonight. This is that little complicated one, so I'm going to ask you guys to keep it very, keep it in this order just so we can read it together. What I'm asking for is how many sacks, how many fumbles recovered, not forced, recovered, and how many interceptions. Those three things, one after the other, put a comma, a dash, a slash, whatever. How many of those will Auburn's defense have in this game? Sacks, fumbles, interceptions. What are we looking at? Been doing decent on sacks, I feel like, but we just now had a great turnover game, so it feels like maybe we'll have that drop down again of not doing that as much. Let's see what you guys are saying in here. Something about Henry, Hunter Henry. I don't know what that. Hunter Henry was with. I don't know what that's going on in there. 4, 2, 1. Just a 7 from Stan. 7, 1, and 1. 4, 0, 2. There's the rest of Stan's. So 7, 3, 4 for him. 5, 0, 1, 3, 0, 0. Micah doing some wishful thinking again. I think you're going to see at least 3 sacks. I think I'll say a fumble. No interceptions. 3, 1, 0 for me. 3, 1, 0. Okay. All right. Like I told you guys, we're going to do an abbreviated show tonight just for the sake of house stuff that I've got going on tonight. Everything's fine, just busy. But special teams, we'll do one actually, we'll do 2 of them. I want to do 2 of them. How many field goals attempted and made will be for Auburn in this game? How many field goals attempted and made? Isn't it interesting, folks, that if we go back to our show, which we didn't do one last week because of my schedule, everybody probably would have been pretty low on this prediction, right? Right? But then 6 for 6 happens, and some of them were not easy. So where do you fall in this with Alex McPherson? Is it truly just a random game where he just wasn't on it? It looks like that. WT wants a 6 for 6. Micah wants a 5 for 5, a 3 for 3, a 2 for 2. Look at all these. Everybody is pumped about this. 1 of 1. I'll take that as well. I see 100%. Listen, I don't think anybody here would say that they lost respect for Alex McPherson in any way, but after his poor performance, but you were certainly just concerned about what he was going to be able to do. If you don't feel really good about his situation after that game, I don't know what to tell you. A lot of resiliency, a lot of heart. I'll say, actually, we have a kicker injury. Gibbs, who was one of the backups, he is hurt. So Towns may be in that. You know what? I'm going to say we go 3 for 3. Towns gets 1 as well. I'm going to say 3 for 3. McPherson has 2 of them, and Towns gets another 1 of those. AU kicks 6 field goals, they lose. Well, you said that. You say that last week, and it wasn't the case. And this is a much worse team. Well, a worse team, not a much worse team. Should have carried him off the field like Rudy. That's well said. Well said. The hot rod story, just a bit just a bit of a story there. I know a little bit of the hot rod story, but I'm not like super familiar on it, Micah, so I probably shouldn't even speak on it. Neil, the sky has fallen if we're agreeing on predictions. That's just weird. All right. Last thing that I want to hear from you guys, number of penalties, number of penalty yards. This has been a big one for Auburn. I would argue of all the things that haven't worked for Auburn as a team in this season, this is still one of those ones that is somewhat of an issue. I think it's been cleaned up at times. I think this is we all have talked about the refs, bad calls, all that stuff. I hear you. It depends on who's reffing. Trust me. But some of these have been on us. Some of these have been us making dumb move situations, have been false starts, all that kind of stuff. A lot of hype, a lot of energy for this game. Being back at home, fans are going to be wanting to see a show. The players are probably going to be wanting to put on a show. Could we be a little bit, I want to say arrogant, but feeling good about ourselves? So what do you think? Penalties and yardage. Wow. Pretty high. Pretty high. And I can't really fault y'all for thinking that. Can't really fault you for thinking that. They were talking about the teams with the massive penalty yards, and Auburn wasn't even the top 10, 20, though. So, okay, well, there you go. Maybe we need to back off a little bit. And 9 for 98. We have not seen anything below 6, and I would probably agree with you there. That should well, there's Hunter with his optimism, 4 of 30. I hope Hunter's right. I don't see a way that Auburn doesn't currently have at least 5. I like the 6 prediction from Mr. Foley. I'll say 6 and 55 yards just to make it different. 6 and 55 yards. I'll go with that. All right, we have gone through offense. We have gone through defense. We have gone through special teams a little bit. We have talked about the ins and outs of the games. We have talked about a lot of different elements. We've talked about what ESPN thinks about this matchup, anything and everything in between. Auburn versus Kentucky, game 9, week 10. Your score predictions. Put it in the chat right now. Put them on the record. What do you got? I always say every week, this is a show that helps me kind of talk through and think about what I want to predict. And I really, I enjoy doing this a lot with you guys because it is more of a working exercise for me. And obviously I am working by doing this, but it is in a way that I can actually put to words, see some of y'all's opinions about the team. And it's weird to think, because, like Micah was saying earlier that, or I think maybe it was Neil, whoever it was, talking about that they're just not good defensively, which is weird to hear with Mark Stoops as your head coach, being a defensive guy, unless I'm mixing the two up. I think I've got that right. Predictions are coming in 31-10. And a lot of you are doing that, but put it who wins next to it. Some people make that mistake. 47-17, 37-10, 35-24, 38-17, 41-17. The little cooler of a seat. Scorched earth. I think we would all enjoy a scorched earth game. This needs to be. Hugh needs to do at Kentucky what, for some odd reason, Gus always did to Arkansas. It seemed to be like Gus would just. He needs to do what Gus did in the first half to Purdue in the bowl game. Just come out and not even just let off at all. 24-31. I'm assuming Kentucky. Wishful thinking from Micah. So I predicted 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. I can stick with that. So 21 points. Do I think that my predictions on field goals is legit? I'm going to back off and say 2 of them. I'm going to say thinking about it. Give me a second. 20. I'll stick with it. 27-20. Auburn wins. 27-20. Auburn wins. 27-20. All right. Anything else in the chat that we need to cover before we get out of here? Very funny, very funny. All right, reminders for you guys tonight. Thank you guys for your patience with, I know this was a last minute put together and I wanted to do that for you guys. Housekeeping first, there is a basketball game on right now. I don't believe I'm gonna be able to do a post-game show for that right after this just because of home schedule stuff here and stuff like that. So I gave you guys the opportunity to have this before the basketball stuff tonight. And it's not even on TV, but I always say you never know. So always have your notification bells marked on so that you can, know when we're going live. Also, we'll have our live stream of Tiger Walk on Saturday. So be looking for that. We will have a post-game show from the mobile broadcast studio if I don't fall asleep, because it's going to be a late night regardless, but hopefully even later night because we're celebrating a win. All that to be said, look forward to some great content this weekend on the plains. We are really excited about it. Yes, happy Halloween to all of you. Please be safe out there and enjoy it. Have a great time. Whatever you're doing, just be safe and responsible and everything for the Halloween spirit. And you're about to see Kyle in his rarest form, not rarest form, his best form when we get to the holiday season, the real holiday season here coming up. All right, guys, thank you all so much for hanging out tonight. We appreciate you being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family, spending the preview and predictions show with us. Till we talk to you again, I want to remind you the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.